So when you fight for the first time, all the things you learn get thrown out the window. One of the things that I'm really focusing on, it's a way of thinking about training combat athlete. And about 5 years ago, I discovered this term, and it's something I've been working on, but I just didn't have the right term for it. And this sport performance coach, he coined a phrase that was just brilliant. And he said that basically elite athlete can access what the skills that they have acquired. Okay, so think of a coin, and there's two sides to the coin. There's acquire and there's access. Now, the problem with combat martial art or combat sport, especially when it's very violent, is that the human mind gets dumped with a lot of emotional baggage, a lot of fear, frustration, anger, etc. Right? And especially if you did not came from a violent environment and you don't have the coping mechanism for it. And so when you fight for the first time, all the things you learn get thrown out the window. And on top of that, if you train with coaches or trainers that have not fought or have not experienced of fighting or have not studied how the human mind engage in violence, they will teach you a lot of stuff that goes out the window the minute you fight. If you're a combat athlete, you got to make sure everything you do, you can access it, right? And so the problem is that another concept I want to teach is called partial truth. And so what happens is if you discover a small modicum of success, you build around that modicum of success, and you go down this path, and you do not reevaluate what you have discovered is true or not. So I call it partial truth. And you see that in religion, you see that in politics, you see that even in big corporations. A lot of times you will see athletes hit the focus mitt, right? They look phenomenal. And then on the day of the fight, they can't do any of it. And it's because the coach not constantly check to see if they can access it, right? And so what happens is you have to do these neural feedback loop tricks to make sure the athlete can access it. And now these neural feedback loop tricks may take time to acquire, and it may not work perfectly, okay? But at least we are cognizant of it. And so a good example is traditional martial art. They will teach their athletes, their practitioner, all sorts of movement, all sorts of skill set, and on the day of the fight, they can't put it together, right? Now, that's on the extreme end. Another example is, let's just say, females who do cardio kickboxing. You know, they look great, they do the combos, and we make fun of them because the technique doesn't look perfect. But on the day of the fight, they can't do any of it, okay? Same thing with people who don't know how to wrestle. They wrestle a little bit, and then somehow they can't figure it out because the mind gets this huge adrenaline dump. But not just that, the training methodology is flawed, right? And so what happened is you have a divergence of pathway. So you keep on teaching the athletes how to acquire these techniques, like how to do like a jumping side kick, roundhouse kick, slip the punch, bob and weave and all these stuff. And then on the day of the fight, you don't see any of it. Or during sparring, you don't see any of it. And so you really have to step backward and figure out, why can't my athlete do those things, right? And so another method I want to talk about, or teaching methodology I've developed, is called the hierarchy method or the triangle method. And so if you want, comment below and I'll break it down. It's a method that took me a while to figure out, and I honestly believe it's one of the best methods to map out where you are in your training regimen and if you're able to access it.